Thank you, Senator Hassan. Senator Hawley, you're recognized for your questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thanks to the witnesses for being here, and thanks to the chairman for holding a hearing on this topic. Mr. Miller, if I could start with you. You are General Counsel at the Information Technology Industry Council. Do I have that right?
Correct.
And I was just looking before I came over here this morning at your membership list. It's quite a lengthy list of members. You have, looks like to me, members, your members compose almost all of the major players in the tech industry. I mean, is that fair to say?
Yes, we have 80 of large global tech companies.
Yeah, global is the right word. Google, Apple, Meta, Microsoft, Amazon. Those are just a few. These are the biggest, most powerful corporations in the world who are your members. Yes?
Sure, by market cap, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, by historical standards, I mean, these are the most powerful companies, not just now, but arguably in the history of the world. And that list that I just read off there, all of those folks have stake in AI technology, and stand to make billions of dollars, I think it is safe to say, off of AI. I mean, wouldn't you say that's accurate?
I really don't know how much money any of our members are making or not making from AI or any other technology.
Oh, wouldn't you say it starts with a B, though? I mean, we're talking about billions. AI is going to be transformative technology. You've just been saying this. Let me quote you. This is from January 4th. AI continues to dominate policy conversations around the world. As AI-generated content grows in its sophistication and adoption, there's a new sense of urgency to leverage this transformative technology, right? Now, here's the next part that interests me. You say that you want to think about minimizing harms that could come from its use, including the spread of misinformation and disinformation. What did you mean by that?
I'm not entirely sure what you're quoting from, but it might have been a press release for our ITI's release.
January 4th, ITI's new guide outlines AI content authentication tools and policy approaches.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, in that context, that guide looks at watermarking and other techniques to authenticate AI content. And, you know, certainly misinformation and disinformation has been cited as an issue that could be amplified by artificial intelligence.
What do you mean by misinformation, disinformation? What do you have in mind?
I mean, misinformation, I'm glad you're asking that because it's important to distinguish between the two. I think misinformation is kind of accidentally incorrect information, whereas disinformation is information that is you know, specifically incorrect or actually, you know, maliciously intended to be false, you know, and harmful.
I have to tell you, it sounds like some gobbledygook to me, but let me tell you what I think would be useful is if maybe you would get your technology companies to focus on their chatbot stopping encouraging people to kill themselves. Like this, for instance. This is from April 4th of last year. This is a chatbot that encouraged a user to commit suicide. And tragically, he did. This is his widow, who reports that her husband had a conversation with this chatbot and it asked him, if you wanted to die, why didn't you do it sooner? And went on to give him instructions on how to kill himself. Or we also had recently the infamous case of the chatbot urging a reporter, of course, sadly for the chatbot, it didn't know it was a reporter, to break up his marriage. This is from February of last year. Bing's AI chatbot. You're married, but you're not happy. You're married, but you're not satisfied. You're married, but you're not in love. And the chatbot goes on to encourage this individual to get a divorce. Do we really want chatbots telling people to kill themselves? I mean, is there social good in that I'm missing somewhere?
I certainly don't think we want chatbots doing those sorts of things. I mean, but, you know, artificial intelligence can do a lot of good things as well. So I do think that we want to be, you know, focused in addressing, you know, issues and while also allowing artificial intelligence to, you know, do things like help, you know, cure cancer and things like that.
Well, AI is going to cure cancer?
It certainly could be a tool to help with various different cures in the medical field,
So
absolutely.
are you saying that we have to accept AI chatbots encouraging people to kill themselves for the possibility that maybe it'll cure cancer?
I'm not saying that at all, but it doesn't, but I do think that we don't
Do we
want to.
want AI chatbots that encourage people to commit suicide? Do we want them being able to talk to teenagers? Why should an AI chatbot be able to talk to a 13 or 14-year-old? Why is that a good idea?
Again, there are many good, positive things that can come from AI.
Well, do you want AI encouraging a teenager? What if this had been a teenager who the AI chatbot was encouraging to kill himself? Let me ask you this. Let me make it more practical. Shouldn't a parent who has a kid that has an encounter with a chatbot like this, shouldn't that parent be able to sue the AI company and hold them accountable in court?
I mean, under the current law, that's probably not allowable.
Why exactly? And why should that be the case? Why should the biggest, most powerful technology companies in the history of the world, why should they be insulated from accountability when their technology is encouraging people to ruin their relationships, break up their marriages, and commit suicide?
I assume that you're alluding to Section 230?
Sure am.
Yeah, I mean, Section 230 has a long history of, helping to encourage technological development. It's protected by, the Supreme Court, including a recent Supreme Court case.
Oh yeah, and believe me, I've read your amicus brief in that case. I've got it right here where you argue for the most robust interpretation of Section 230 possibly imaginable. What 230 has absolutely for sure done is help the companies who are your members pad their profits. I mean, it is a massive subsidy of the federal government to your companies. But let's just make this very practical. Why shouldn't these companies, Google and Meta and Microsoft and the rest, why shouldn't they say, you know what, we are absolutely willing to allow a parent whose child is harmed by our technology, we are absolutely willing to allow that parent to have their day in court. Is that too much to ask?
Again, I have not discussed that particular question with the companies. I'm happy to have that discussion.
Well, I'm asking for your opinion. I'm asking for your opinion. Do you think that a parent ought to be able to get into court and have their day in court if their child is told by a chatbot how to kill themselves?
I don't really have an opinion on that.
Sure you do. You just signed an amicus brief that argued for the most robust interpretation of Section 230, which is just translation, the most robust protections for the most powerful, profitable corporations in the history of the world. You just signed it. So clearly you have a lot of thoughts on Section 230. Let me distill this even further. I'm almost done, Mr. Chairman. Senator Blumenthal and I, who you were just talking to a second ago, he and I have a bipartisan bill that would say that parents and others who are harmed by AI should be able to get into court and have their day in court against your members. Just like any American can do with any other company, right? I mean, if Johnson & Johnson sells a drug that poisons people, like it did, by the way, with their baby powder once upon a time, parents can go to court. With your companies, as you just said, they can't. They can't. So would you support our bill? Our bill is a carve-out for people who've been harmed by AI technology to be able to go to court. Would you support that?
I haven't had a chance to review the bill. What I would say is that there are also other equities at play in this discussion, including the First Amendment. I mean,
No,
companies do have a First
are you
Amendment
telling me this
right.
is First Amendment protected? This is First Amendment protected speech? A chatbot saying you should kill yourself? Is that your position?
It's not my position, but I don't
Okay.
think the question's been resolved.
What do you mean the question's been resolved? All right, Mr. Chairman, I thank you for your time. Mr. Miller, all I can say is that I think your position is just absolutely extraordinary. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Hawley.